Well, you spent your time getting your pet to Europe, and you've watched our videos, and you've got a pet passport. Now what? What good is it? And what do you have to do to keep it working? Stay around. That's what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about what to do once you've got your EU pet passport for your dog or cat, and how to use it. It's a little bit confusing. It took us a while to figure it all out. Today we just got a question from one of our viewers, Doug. Thanks, Doug, that asked, I've got my pet passport. Now what? What do I do with it? And that's what we're going to try to help you with today. If you haven't watched our original videos, which tell you the whole process, if you're starting out new, they'll be linked at the end of this video, so you can just watch them there. So you've got your pet passport. What do you have to do when you return? If you don't keep your shots up in your pet passport, what happens? So let's talk about that. If you've got your pet passport and you've just gone to Scalea, you will have your vaccinations from the US. You've probably had to take your dog to the vet, and he will put some information in that they've seen you, and you'll have that, and that's good for 1 year. You need to have that renewed at least once a year. We have actually gone over that, and I'll talk about that in a minute, because I made a mistake and ended up spending a lot of money, and I'm sure you don't want to do that. Okay, first of all, how do all these papers work? Because getting your USDA papers, it's a mound of papers, it's last minute, it's a big hassle. It's the worst nightmare of my life, and once I got the pet passport, I thought I screwed up, and I went through the process again, and I didn't need to, and I'll tell you what you need to do about that too. So you've got your pet passport, it's good for a year. Always have a rabies certificate, whether it's from your US vet or your Italian vet. Now, it's a little bit screwy with rabies vaccinations, because that's the one they're really concerned with, is your rabies vaccinations. Our rabies vaccinations tend to be good for 3 years. In Italy, they're good for 1 year. Same shot, different lengths of being valid. So initially, when we got our pet passport, we were going back and forth a lot more, and I finally got it to the point where Emma's rabies vaccination was coming up within, I think, 6 months, and I went to the vet, and he said, I can give her a vaccination now, and he could write it into the pet passport and gave us the rabies certificate, and that worked. And then we had another year went by, and we hadn't made it back to Italy, and that expired. And I thought, oh my goodness, am I gonna have to go through this USDA thing again? And I didn't want to chance going to the airport and finding out that I needed some papers that I didn't have. So I went to the vet, and we did the USDA paperwork. And normally I think I spent $300, and then this one was, I think, almost $700. It was ridiculous, but I bit the bullet, did it as a test. So when we went to the airport, they said, okay, do you have her paperwork? And this is in the US, in San Francisco. And they asked for my paperwork, and I showed them the pet passport. She looked through it. Okay, do you have the rabies certificate? I had my rabies certificate from my vet in California. She looked at it and said, okay, that could have saved me some money. We're getting out of the country, but getting back into the country is the only time they've ever actually looked at my USDA papers. All they really want to see is your rabies vaccination to get out of the US. Coming back in, they want to see all the paperwork. So we went to my vet, and I said, if I show you her rabies certificate from the U.S., can you put it in her pet passport? He says, no, I can't put your U.S. certificate in the pet passport. I have to give her the shot. So he looked at her and just kind of updated some signature in the passport. I knew I had my USDA papers, so when I went back to the U.S., all I showed him was my pet passport and my U.S. rabies certificate, and no problem. So okay, I think that works. So a few months later, we went back to Italy, and all I took was my rabies certificate and my pet passport. Going out of the country, they kind of looked at the pet passport, they looked at the rabies certificate. On my way. Coming back, yes, you better have your pet passport, and they'll ask for the rabies certificate. So once you have an EU pet passport, it's good to keep them as up to date as you can. If you can work out a schedule where you can have your rabies vaccinations done in Italy, they will go in the pet passport. If not, just make sure you have your rabies certificate from your vet at your home in the U.S. So that's the main thing. You have now freed yourself and saved yourself about $700 or some outrageous amount of money per trip by having that pet passport. It's a hassle to get it sometimes. It's a little bit daunting, but it is totally worth it. We have had nothing but good travels, and now that we know some of these little in and outs, so always have a rabies certificate, U.S., Italian, either one is fine, as long as it's stamped and it's valid. Have your EU pet passport. Have you, at least once a year, go into your vet, and he'll probably stamp something and say that he's seen you. He may not even do that because they didn't look. The first time we went back after a long layoff, it was technically out of date, but it didn't matter. We had it, and we had a current rabies certificate, and that's the things they care about. And coming into the States, they don't want anything else now. If they see the pet passport and they look at the rabies certificate, boom, you're right through. It is totally worth the time and effort to get one if you're going to be going back and forth with your pet a lot. I'm glad we did. Watch the videos. Like I said, it's a little daunting. So anyway, hope this helps. If you have any questions about it, or if you have any recent experiences, put them in the comments. When we first got our pet passport, all we had to do was go to Praia Amare and go to the vet there. And we went there a couple of times to talk with them. My sister, they told her they'd move the office to Paola, and she would have to go there. I don't know what it is right now, but hopefully we'll get some feedback and you can check that out. And if there's an update, we will update you. And like I said, thanks, Doug, for bringing this up. This is what we have our channel for, is to share information for people who are thinking about or moving to or have moved to Italy and have some questions about dealing with life there. We've gone through a lot of these things, and we're happy to share our experiences, and we hope you will share your experiences. And if you have questions about doing things, don't hesitate to ask. Like in this case, it was a really good question, and I thought it's something worth sharing with all of you. So thanks a lot. If you like this, please hit like, subscribe, tell your friends about us. We're trying to get to 3,000 of subscribers, and we're almost there. So see you in the next one. Ciao.